I know I have been Mr. Negative, Mr. Down, Mr. Condescending, not loving it, having issues with it when it comes to House of the Dragon Season 2. Episode 7 just happened tonight, and I'm here to say I finally got out what I was looking for. And no, it wasn't necessarily the dragon action we were given, but the character moments and the character building out that we got. Let's go ahead and talk about House of the Dragon Episode 7. Easily the best overall, I feel, episode of House of the Dragon, period. And the way it was paced and the way it was building out multiple characters and storylines and intriguingly, and having, I feel, a solid payoff throughout. And boy, where do we begin? Now, before I get too far, I just want to thank everybody for subscribing here recently. And again, I've been kind of negative on that show. I know I've been getting some people agreeing, disagreeing, but today is all about eating the crow. Because my goodness, did I say I want the show to start focusing on building out more than the base characters and being stuck in the base storylines. And it did that. And I saw exactly the type of show I've been wanting to have for a while. Now, we can start right off the bat with all of the Dragon Bastard scenes and the moments we've had with some of the characters we have throughout. But I'm going to save that for later. My standout moment and the moment I realized I was like, yes, this is the moment I've been wanting to see, and these are the type of character moments outside the main Targaryen and Green cast that I've been wanting to have. And why it's so important for me as a viewer, I think important for the story and the world as a whole, was the new Tully boy standing up to Daemon and forcing Daemon's hand to acknowledge the mistakes Daemon made, as to gain the Riverland's power. And I'm not quite sure who the actor was in this scenario, this young actor, but this level of character moments, character building, standing up to Daemon here, and having all the River Lords very quickly unite behind him and show faith in him, is the exact type of lords and moments and characters, moments and just discussions I've been wanting to see with this show. It's very clear whether you're Team Green or Team Black. So if you live in this realm, you're definitely talking and feeling and having your thoughts about the side. So seeing all the River Lords there speak so freely about Daemon and the issues that he's had, and watching this new young, kind of champion, new young commander and lord of the Tullys and the Riverlands as a whole, stand up to Daemon, acknowledge he does not like Daemon. Daemon has made massive mistakes, but he stands true to Viserys' heir Rhaenyra that he pledged in the past, was just beautiful. And it set a great tone for the moment. It actually, for me, redeemed, at least for this episode, Harrenhal being involved, because even though we got a great scene with Paddy Constantine back in that makeup as he is almost like rotted away with Daemon, and this scene is the exact type of world outside character moments I'm wanting to see happen and consistently happen throughout this whole entire series. It's something where I think it should have been started from the beginning of the season. If they needed to move the story out and spread it out a little bit more instead of 8 episodes, I'm okay with that, because we need these characters, whether they're the Lord of the Riverlands or the Lord of the Vale, or some of these bastards that we've kind of got to know, but I don't think we've really known very well and where they've come from. I think we saw this episode, if you give them the space, you breathe them out, and you go into their character journeys and allow them to have these moments more consistently throughout the season, instead of consistently being stuck in the same political stalemate that we were with both the green and the black side for much of the season, you would have developed out a much more fluid cast, much more interesting and intricate storylines, in my opinion, and delivered an overall more fluid story. And, let's hope that now that we've got, a lot of maybe some things popping up, that this will kind of right that wrong, per se, and what has been a very, very boring, flamboyant, political stalemate type season, and even with beyond political stalemate, like even character stalemate type season, now leads to more interesting conversations and characters throughout. Again, before the Bastards, another character moments that I like that I've been wanting to see more of, because for most part, both of these high councils have been very mute, blank, and kind of just there to play anti-Alicent, anti-Rhaenyra. And the conversation that Larys had with, I don't even know who he was on the High Council, but just their conversation with potentially Seasmoke having a new rider, and that, it's something that should be brought up, and they're talking about does this need to be brought up with the source of the information or not? Should you do it? This is the type of conversations and points I want to see with, beyond just the council. I want to see these people that are on my screen every week making comments understand their point of view better. I don't care if they're going to be in like their kind of closed doors talking about how mad Rhaenyra is or how crazy Alicent is or whatever. They're all playing their own Game of Thrones in a way, and I want to see their perspective on why they're happening here and why why they're saying the things they do and believe the things they do or whatever like that. It's just something that I think this show has severely lacked, but this episode, we got bits and pieces of it across the whole entire episode, and it really, I think, stuck at a landing and made it feel so refreshing from what we've had previously. I'm a big Aemon stand, but this was the episode he's been pretty much in the least, and that's okay. We don't need our central characters to be in the episodes every single week doing the same exact thing. Sometimes letting them follow the background and letting kind of the outside characters build up and grow into something that can also be strong and connect to is better for the story. And that's been my preaching the whole entire season. And this episode delivered that throughout. Other conversations before we get into the big highlight of the Bastards moments. The conversation with Rhaenyra and Jace. And I have to say, Jace is coming off as kind of a bitch here. Because he knows he's a bastard. He knows he's a bastard. And he feels threatened at the idea that other bastards coming in would be able to ride dragons may hurt his claim for the throne later on. But it's one of those where it's like, he's trying to have his cake and eat it too. And I understand that per se. But it's the first time, it's kind of but at least here we got kind of a little bit more of Jace. But it did give his character the negative, light for me. But again, I think it really highlighted a better side of Rhaenyra here overall. What else can we talk about this episode? I liked Alicent's journey. Again, having her be so far put away from the actual main story of the political issues and whatnot, having her by herself. I think you could even cut one or two of those scenes down with Alicent, just so that she, you could have saved time and given more time somewhere else, maybe. But having these characters disconnect from the main middle part and allowing them to breathe on the side, or allowing them not to be the main focus of the episode, is just, I feel, working extremely well in my opinion in this episode. And it's something that I wish we did more. We'll get our Alicent moments, we'll get our Rhaenyra moments. We got our Rhaenyra moments this episode a little bit more. But man, we needed to take for granted we had built out some of these newer, these characters from last season well, your Rhaenyras, your Alicents, your Aemons, even your Aegons, and let new characters breathe in and build up a little bit more. Finally, let's talk about the new Dragon Riders and the Bastards, and whether it is the Valyrian Bastard that was on Seasmoke. I thought that conversation went well, and the idea with Rhaenyra went well. I've got to say, the CGI was a little bit touchy a bit. Wasn't as clean as what maybe some people might feel. And I do question anybody who even got a dragon there. Should you be loyal to Rhaenyra? Because it basically looked like you just, she brought a bunch of, low-life people and potentially sent them to their death without even, blinking an eye to it. Either way, though, the scene of, the Hammersmith getting on his dragon, and the one that we've seen in the pub getting his own dragon, and even the conversations and them whisking away from King's Landing. And again, these are moments I think if we had built these characters up a little bit more throughout the season, if we had cut out maybe one or two, or three of the episodes of Daemon just having these visions in Harrenhal, and really allowed those scenes that went on for a little while to be centered more on these bastards living in King's Landing and some of the issues going on. I think that these would have even meant more and been stronger, happenings and movements in the story. Even still, like the fact that the Hammersmith said he lost his kid. That was an off-screen thing. We know they were sick earlier in the season. That could have been a part of the storyline we saw kind of build out. Not every episode, but again, I think that could have been built out a little bit better, and we didn't need to have Damon's visions all the way through. Again, one or two more scenes with the drunk, the person who always is drinking at the kind of the brothel and tavern. Would have loved if he was a little bit, we got more of those side characters of that story, and we're able to see a little bit more of the town people and these conversations move through a little bit better. But I'm not going to complain too much because I think we at least righted some of the wrongs, and we did get some pretty good content with them here, and some moments that I don't know if they were as earned as well as they could have been, but I'm happy that we had them nonetheless. Overall, House of the Dragon Episode 7 to me was everything I wanted to have in the show and more, which is building out this world this season to be on more than just the main cast, giving us perspectives and the ideas of the other places in the realm and how they're feeling of both, Rhaenyra, Alice, and Daemon, Aemon, all of the above, their own local politics, and how they're, what type of characters they are there. Are they going to be, so far they've all been kind of just bland, just say what people want, and they felt very lifeless. But this episode, again, starting with the Tully confrontation with Daemon, I felt that we were starting to get some life into these characters. Now, when it comes to the Vale with Rhaena and Lady Erin, there's an example of one where that was kind of like a laid flat type potential character building moment, or even like the twins a couple episodes ago. I just think we need more people and seeing them more often. I'm hoping with the River Lord, with him being part of Daemon's contingent, that we keep these faces as integral parts of the show that show up at least and have conversations once an episode or once every couple episodes, because that is what brings life to Game of Thrones. That's what has brought life into the world, for me at least, with House of the Dragon. And I think that's what makes this Westerosi land so nice, is that there are so many different types of people there are, and they have all different types of perspectives and way they hold honor and how they do type of stuff. And they have their own thoughts and belief systems on how they're going to progress themselves and what they want. And that's what makes this, in my opinion, and it's an intriguing world, and that's what made Game of Thrones such an intriguing story. Hopefully we'll start getting that more with House of the Dragon. Hopefully tonight wasn't a blimp on a radar. But yeah, I just really like this episode, and I'm the type of person, I will make my own critiques, and I will say what I think about episodes, good or bad. And I've done that here on the past, but I am not going to just, hold a grudge against the show, and when I get a great episode, not give it its flowers, not give it its praise, not give it its due. And that's why tonight's episode of House of the Dragon is getting a solid diamond. This has been the best episode in the series, and just last week I said, I don't know, I might have to check out of the series after these next two episodes, because if it's going to be the same boring plot, if we're not going to build out the world better, if we're not going to give even simple moments like, hey, you're two members of the council, have a discussion about how Aemond or Rhaenyra or Jace or whoever is, and get their perspective and how they talk and think about things. That's just what I've been wanting out of the show, and that's what it really gave me tonight, and I'm hoping it continues. But yeah, I love this episode of House of the Dragon, and I'm hoping the finale, we'll see what it's like next week, but I'll be glued to it. I mean, I'll be filming my review in Mexico and trying to upload it for Monday morning or Sunday night, but yeah, I'm excited. So tell me your thoughts down below. Did you like this episode as much as me? And I can't wait to see you for the finale next week, now that I've been given a lot of love, in this episode. And faith kind of has been restored, because if they can continue this right, I think we're going to have a good, interesting show. But Until then, be free to check out my Big Brother content. I did my Deadpool and Wolverine review here on the channel. And I'll be trying to sneak out some other stuff this week, like Borderlands and other things, before I head down to Mexico. So, again, thank you for your time, and have a good night.